Tonight on the Black Channel. In the words of our immortal elder, Neely Fuller, white supremacy always takes both sides of an argument. Welcome to Upside Down World. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting super fortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, brothers and sisters, I have to tell you, and we've been saying this now for over a decade, it was not gonna be this easy. It was never gonna be this easy. As hard as we've been fighting now for 20 years, it wasn't gonna be this easy. As hard as we've been fighting since the murder of Trayvon Martin, it wasn't gonna be this easy. As hard as we've been fighting since the murder of George Floyd, it wasn't gonna be this easy. Folks, white supremacy does not take a holiday. They've been hard at work to figure out how in the hell do we flip this? How do we turn the world on its ear? Black people, particularly foundationals, have led the charge and have taken control of the national conversation. We have now taken the term, starting with, we no longer call it racism, it's white supremacy. Brother Neely Fuller taught us that the words that we use have to be specific, so that they can't be twisted and turned, and we started becoming very specific and things started changing. So they went back to work and said, whoa, how do we derail this? Then Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. How do we derail this? Barack Obama's a pariah. How do we derail this? Kamala Harris and Cory Booker can't get any traction. Whoa! What do you do? It's very simple what you do here. Might not be easy to pull off, but it's very simple what you do. What you do is you turn the world on its ear and claim to everyone that the real racists are black people. Black folk are the real racists. Why, everything was fine till black folks showed up. Everything was great, everything was wonderful. As a matter of fact, there are no white Nazis. The black people are, of course, the real Nazis. Of course. Of course, black people are the real Nazis. There's no reason to talk to anybody else, anywhere else, for any other reason. Black folk are, of course, the real Nazis. That's where you're at here today. I'm white and I say so to a whole new level. To tell you that one man in one place is the leader of, I guess, the neo-Nazi movement. I don't know what you'd call it at this point. That's what they really would tell you. To take a look at how much work they're putting into this is the real thing here. Take a look at how much work that they're putting into this. Case in point, this picture you're taking a look at on your screen, I got this from Twitter. And there's plenty of others, by the way. I mean, these folks have been hard at work out there. These folks been hard at work. I'm talking about the digital artists and painters. Boy, they haven't taken a minute off. They're doing their photoshopping and everything. This is how much work and effort they are putting into this. They ain't playing around, is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not playing around. Oh no, the picture I was using, that's just one. That's just one. I mean, they're steady trying to put this into the zeitgeist and into the cultural dialogue of everything here. We're just grabbing everything we can. This is it. I mean, we got wholesale artwork going on. Now, this is just for me doing a search for it. This is just for me doing a search for it. But they've been hard at work, people. Hard at work. But then again, it shouldn't be a surprise. I was showing a video here. Someone posted a video from Bill Burr. Said from years ago, said that he met Kanye. I want to say back in 2017. Is that Bill Burr on Kanye back in 2017. 2017. He was still happily married to Kim and every damn thing else. But Bill Burr, Joe Rogan's favorite buddy. Listen to what he had to say about Kanye and what it was he had to say it about.
Okay. Next time Kanye's going off on himself, I'm telling you, just close your eyes, forget it's him, and really listen to what is coming out of this guy's mouth. He says shit like, I'm a genius. I'm a god. I'm Shakespeare. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live. That's a direct quote. My biggest regret is I'll never get to see myself perform live. Dude, you put that ego in a white dude that is, ich bin einen in der Streisen. What's the Blitzkrieg? What's the superior race?
That was 2017 is what they said there. 2017. 5 years ago. What did Kanye say 5 years ago to make him saying, I'm Shakespeare, I'm great? How did that transform into, if you put this in a white guy, it would be a Nazi? How the hell did we get there?
I'm live. Dude, you put that ego in a white dude that is, ich bin einen in der Streisen. What's...
How the hell did you make that leap? How the hell do you make that leap? Yeah, you can say this person's rather full of themselves, but then again, if they're in Hollywood, I mean, that's actually career enhancement. How the hell did you make that leap? So they've been doing this for a minute. Let this be a warning. We keep telling you, to everybody out there telling themselves that they're going to just exit black society and you'll be allowed to just slither away into the woods, into the foliage. And that's all you'll have to do, and you'll be able to leave that behind. Man, they coming for all of you. And they've been laying breadcrumbs forever. If you're a black person of any significance, they're coming. They've been already laying the little breadcrumbs, and you didn't know it. They're coming. They are coming. I told you this years ago. The goal is, even if you seem like you got some money out of it, we're here to claw back as much of it as possible and to destroy, to annihilate your earning potential going forward. So you see, this is the new lynching. We don't have to string you up from a tree. We'll string you up your reputation and everything else in your earning ability there. That's what we'll string up on the tree. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Now, folks, just so you can be aware here, they ain't just got the little folks out here. They have brought out the very biggest guns. Jason Black, how big of guns you talking about here? I'm going to tell you here in just a moment, but before I do, everybody who's listening to tonight's program, if you agree with what we're saying here, give me a thumbs up and hit the likes button. Seems like folks may not like what I'm saying here tonight. If that's the case, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here in a minute. But if you like what you're hearing on tonight's program, give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button. We got over 3,000 people listening here live right now. We got over 3,000 people listening live right now. If you're about that life and real about it, let me see you hit the likes button and let folk know that I'm speaking for the masses and I'm speaking for the black street. As I was saying here, they've brought out the big guns. And I mean the biggest guns. Well, Jason, how big of guns did they drag out in this? How big are the guns they dragging out? This big. Kamala Harris, who ain't said a damn thing and never saw a black person being brutalized by police that she didn't co-sign, she figured out a way to weigh in on this all of a sudden. Figured out a way to weigh in on this. Praising Hitler and denying the Holocaust is vile, appalling, and must be condemned. Our administration will continue to stand up against anti-Semitism and the epidemic of hate, except when it's black folk. Now, when it's black folk, it's open season. When it's black people, it's open season on black people. Folks, Kamala Harris is on deck. Kamala Harris is on deck. Right there in the middle of it. Yeah, black folk, you on your own. But right here, oh, she's on deck. She's letting you know she'll speak out against racism as long as it's, as long as it's not black folk. As long as that's not the case, no problem. No problem. Big shout out here to everyone contributing to the program on PayPal, CashApp, especially in the Super Chat. My man Terrell Black, thank you for the program here. Continue to educate the people. I'm going to keep doing what I do here. So thank you to everybody here who has contributed to the program on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. Ran 11B Airborne, thank you very much here. RCD, everybody else here. John L., everyone else, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. By the way, Kamala Harris, those are big guns, but they ain't the biggest. Oh, Joe Biden has gotten off his meds long enough. Joe Biden is off his meds long enough. People, this is how real it's gotten. The President of the United States, Jim Crow Joe Biden. Here's a guy who would want to change the subject. If you ever saw a person who would desperately want to change the subject, this is him. I just want to make a few things clear. You mean other than your dementia? The Holocaust happened. Did slavery happen, sir? Did Jim Crow happen? Did segregation, redlining happen? Police brutality? Did any of that happen, sir? Just asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Hitler was a demonic figure. Was George Wallace a demonic figure? William J. Fulbright, Strom Thurmond, Jesse Helms, Robert Byrd, were they demonic figures either? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking for a friend. Mr. Biden, your contemporaries in the United States Senate and House of Representatives, by the way, were they demonic figures too? Or are we just stopping at World War II? By the way, you and some of your friends, were those demonic figures also? Asking for a friend. And instead of giving it a platform, our political leaders should be calling out and rejecting anti-Semitism wherever it hides. Silence is complicity. You know what? I agree. When we talk about black folk and descendants of slaves needing reparations, silence is complicity. I absolutely agree. Silence is complicity. I gotta tell you right now, Trayvon Martin got a lot of damn silence from Joe Biden when he was in office. Trayvon Martin got a lot of damn silence from Vice President Joe Biden. Lot of damn silence. Mike Brown, Eric Garner, Terrence Crutcher, Tamir Rice got a lot of damn silence from Joe Biden. Lot of damn silence from Joe Biden. Didn't stand up, didn't say anything. All of a sudden now, he wants to stand up and say something. All of a sudden, he wants to yell. Folks, I want you to understand what you're really taking a look at here. What you're really taking a look at is that they laid the groundwork of this with Bill Cosby. That we are going to transform, that the image of sexual predation is going to be transformed from white men, 90% of the equation. We're going to transfer that over to black men. Because we're white and we say so. Because we're white and we say so. That's what they're telling you here. We're going to do this because we can. We're going to do this because we can. We want to change the subject, and I've been saying this the whole damn time. They are trying to fundamentally change the national conversation. Fundamentally change it and tell you that up is down and down is up. That up is down and down is up. And they started with Bill Cosby. They started with Bill Cosby. They did that for a reason. First, let's see if we can cut our teeth on it. Let's see if we can cut our teeth on it. Now they've shown you where they've been cutting their teeth on it, and we're going to go get Bill Cosby, Cuba Gooding Jr., R. Kelly. I mean, they've been gearing up for this for a while, and now in Kanye's case, they've actually hit the sweet spot. You have somebody who basically you can keep coming back and talking about every day. What he's doing isn't criminal, but remember what I told you before, they're basically declaring this a crime for something that is not criminal. It's not a criminal offense, but it's going to be declared a criminal offense. It'll be declared a social crime. Might not be a statutory criminal offense, but it would be a social criminal offense, and we'll just keep dragging it out every day. We'll keep dragging it out all the time as much as we can here. That's the whole point to that. That's the whole issue. They didn't do what they did with Bill Cosby for nothing, with O.J. Simpson for nothing. They wanted to demonstrate and show that, hey, we can just make this bull crap up. And if we say this is what's real, then this is what's real. So now they told you that the face of sexual predation is black males. Now they're telling you in the unbelievable, the face of white supremacy is black males. Folks, they didn't just sit up here and put up pictures of Kanye. They put up pictures of Kanye as a Nazi. You can't be a black Nazi. That's going to be impossible. But what they want to do is ingrain the idea. Please do not make any mistakes about this. They want to solidify the idea that black people are the face of white supremacy. So that when black people start airing our grievances, I mean, they're already doing it now, telling you, oh, well, what about Kanye? What about Kanye? Those are the questions to ask there. So they're doing this on purpose. They're doing this on purpose. That's the point for you to remember. They're doing that on purpose. Do not be deceived. Don't be deceived about what you're seeing. They're doing this imagery on purpose. And the folk doing it are doing it so that they can reference this in the future. That when we start talking about racism, white supremacy, what about Kanye? There can be black racists too. Now, I talked about what the game plan and the strategy was and would be years ago. What you do is you find a white group that you can claim doesn't have whiteness, and then that will be the bludgeon that you use. So you grab Ben Shapiro types and whatever. These are folks here who this is what the strategy they're using, and it is because if this is a Jewish issue, if this problem is for Jewish people, why in the world are there so many Anglos who are now running to the front to take up the cause? Why is that? If this is a Jewish issue, why is it there are the majority of the people doing the screaming about it are Anglos, not Jewish people? Folks, recognize a racial strategy tactic when you see it. Recognize a racial strategy and tactic when you see it. The majority of the people doing the condemnation and yelling and screaming about this are not Jewish, they're Anglos. They're like Finally, we found something that works. We've been trying to work the Asian thing for a while, and that ran out of steam. So let's see if we can conflate a religion to a race and then use that instead. Let's see if we can get that popping. Let's see if we can get that going. Recognize what you're seeing. Shout out to Tommy Felix there in the super chat. This agenda is dangerous. You are absolutely right. B1 as always. Thank you very much for your support. Brothers and sisters, that's the whole point of it here. If this is about Jewish people, why the hell is it a bunch of Anglos talking about Kanye? If that's what it is. If that's what it is, where the hell did all these Anglos come from? Where the hell did all these Anglos come from, if that's what it is? What the hell is Joe Biden doing here? Joe Biden's not Jewish. Not to my knowledge, he isn't. Thought he was Irish. Folks, wake up and smell the damn white supremacy. I can show you a mile long of Anglos showing up here. Don't you understand? This was an opening and an opportunity that was created. This was an opening and an opportunity that was created. And for the purposes of demonizing all black men across the board, which has always been the goal, so that then you can shut down any other discussions. Reparations, police brutality, discrimination, oppression. You get to shut all that down by saying, well, black folks can be racist too. Even though Kanye West has no power. He has none whatsoever. He's been sat down and spanked like a dog everywhere he's been. Everybody's talking about he was on Alex Jones' show. Alex Jones had to go to court before they could take money out of his pocket. Alex Jones had to go to court before they could take money out of his pocket. Kanye West didn't have to walk in their courtroom. They started yanking cash out of his pockets where he is. They got banks chased to shut him down where he is. He didn't have to go to court. When we talk about common law, common practice, Kanye West, essentially, when you got a bank saying your money is a major American financial institution talking about your money is no good here, that's essentially law. You're supposed to have an institution of government that does something like that. How the hell is it you have somebody like Chase get up and do that on their own? You're supposed to have to sue and go through lawsuits and get motions and depositions and pay attorneys hundreds of thousands of dollars to shut somebody down like that. Alex Jones had to get drugged into court. Kanye West, couple phone calls and emails, bam, there goes your bank account, there goes your money, there goes your deals. Hell, on top of all that, to add insult to injury, and then the courts, in very curious timing, sit up here and say he's got to pay $200,000 a month in child support to Kim Kardashian, who she's already a multi-millionaire. Why does she need child support for anything? Get it from one of them niggas laying on top of you. You got no shortage of them. You got plenty of them. Next time one of them's on top of you, see if you can reach in his pocket right quick. What do you mean Kanye West gotta give you $200,000? But I digress. So just understand, the timing of this isn't just curious or strange. Welcome to a system of white supremacy. People, do you understand? You, as a black person, you don't have enough money to get all of these negative events to coalesce and coincide at the same time. That's the point I'm trying to make. You don't have enough money to get all these events to coincide at the same time. You couldn't do this. You couldn't pay off enough people. You couldn't pressure enough people to get all of these events, negative events, to coincide at the same damn time. George Zimmerman still walking the damn streets. You couldn't do it. Ain't no way. In the chat room, I'm sure the IRS gonna be giving him a call. When you got, damn me, the president and the vice president taking to Twitter. By the way, on the same day, Joe Biden put up his tweet at 11:23 a.m. and Kamala Harris put up her tweet at 2:22 p.m. That means these two was on the damn phone with each other. Okay, I'm gonna do this morning. You do this afternoon now. You couldn't pay for this to happen. When they talk about folks who got money, when you got money and power, as a black person, your money doesn't give you power. Your money gives you spending ability. Your money doesn't give you power. When you talk about white people's whiteness having a monetary value, this is what the hell we mean. Their whiteness alone has a monetary value. Kanye has crossed them, and now they're sitting up saying, okay, the Jewish community will be our excuse to do what we've been doing the whole time. They'll be our cover for it. They'll be our cover for it. And in case you needed to see more, we can go further because there are questions that haven't been asked here. There are questions that haven't been asked here. And I want to get to those questions. Thank you very much here to Carlet Stration. White supremacy is on code. We need to be. Ye is just a prop. He's not just a prop now. He's a proxy. He's not just a prop anymore. He's a proxy. Naturally Tura, they're depleting his finances. You're absolutely correct about that. Thank you very much to Thaddeus Jones, I49, and everybody else who's contributed on Super Chat, PayPal, Cash App. Thank you very much for your support. You know, Tariq recently did a debate with allegedly a Jewish guy who's been calling in on folks' Twitter spaces. He had a debate with this fella right here, and the fella was doing the same tactics. He was doing the same tactics. And when asked, well, how is it you're not white? Oh, we're an ethnicity. Ethnicity got nothing to do with race, sir. Well, our religion. That's got nothing to do with race, sir. How is it that you are not a white person? Oh, well, we're not accepted by white people. Sure you are. Sarah Jessica Parker. We can go down the list. Was it Nina Kunis? What's her name? Nina Kunis? Kunis? Anna Paquin, I think she's Jewish also. And what I'm saying is they have absolutely no problem whatsoever being accepted by white society. What the hell are you talking about? That's never been an issue. That's never been an issue. Wait till we show up in the room. Issue. But case in point right here, I just have a question to ask here. If Kanye West is damn me der Fuhrer, with no logistical support, no financial support, no social support. Tell me where Kanye West is being invited by throngs of people to address the masses. Tell me where that's happening. Tell me where that's happening. Well, you know what? If Kanye West is der Fuhrer, during that debate that Tariq had, the guy was like, well, you know, who's bigger than Kanye West? Who's bigger than Kanye West? Who's bigger than Kanye West? You know what? Why don't we go ask a Jewish publication like Haaretz? Because I was thinking about this the whole time that guy was talking. I'm like, by the way, the Anti-Defamation League has been throwing little shots, not big ones, but little shots at Tucker Carlson now. For a minute, over George Soros, over the leader of Hungary, I think it is. Been throwing little shots at Tucker Carlson for a while. And yet, what are you doing? So I just couldn't help but notice that. I just couldn't help but notice. I'm like, okay, if Haaretz is that concerned about it, shouldn't we be saying a little bit more? So this is an article from Haaretz from October 14th now, going on 2 months ago. The writer is Ben Samuels, and the headline, Kanye anti-Semitic comments put spotlight on Tucker Carlson. As most critics have directed their ire at Kanye West for his statements, few have focused on the Fox News host who gave him the platform to make them and his history of white supremacist conspiracy theories. Dateline Washington. Kanye West's anti-Semitic comments over the past several days have garnered international attention and widespread condemnation. Less attention has been paid, however, to the platform that enabled West to deliver the first of his tropes, Tucker Carlson's Fox News show. West's social media accounts were locked after he threatened to go, quote, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people and accused Jews of shutting down anyone who, quote, opposes their agenda. Days later, it emerged that Carlson had cut out several of the rapper's remarks from the final broadcast of his two-part interview, in which he peddled conspiracy theories. The content of the statements that he did choose to include, though, brings Carlson's history of providing a platform for anti-Semitism further into focus. Tucker Carlson's history of providing a platform for anti-Semitism further into focus. So I'm sitting here the whole time saying this, and I've addressed this before about Tucker Carlson, but by the way, Haaretz, a Jewish newspaper, this is what they had to say about it. Now he goes on to say here, in the interview that did air, Carlson praised West's, quote, obviously true opinions, including one about former Trump aide Jared Kushner only pursuing the Abraham Accords for his own financial benefit. With the exception of Representative Richie Torres, who called the Fox News host an enabler, the criticism from Democratic lawmakers and Jewish establishment organizations focused its ire on West, leaving out Carlson and his popular show. Fox News, Tucker Carlson, #1 on cable TV news, if you dare call it news. And yeah, not a word said about him. Nobody's going after his sponsors. They went after Kanye's. Nobody's made a concerted, organized effort to target Tucker Carlson. And he's got a platform of millions every night. One of the biggest telecommunication companies, media companies on the face of the planet. And yet his anti-Semitism, meh. No tweets from the vice president. No tweets from the president. I guess they were busy. I guess they were otherwise occupied and didn't have time. You think? Maybe they were just occupied and didn't have the time. The article goes on to say, the pundit, talking about Tucker Carlson, has been perhaps the foremost proponent of the, quote, Great Replacement Theory, which claims immigrants are crowding out white populations in Western countries. The conspiracy theory was considered the primary motivation behind the deadly 2017 white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, the 2018 massacre at Pittsburgh Tree of Life Synagogue, and the 2019 mass shooting in El Paso, Texas. Now, by the way, those were not events that all targeted Jewish people, but okay. Quote, according to the Anti-Defamation League, Carlson has used at least 600 episodes of his show to promote elements related to the conspiracy theory, which, by the way, isn't a theory, including that Democrats are plotting to replace, quote, legacy American voters with immigrants and falling white birth rate and shifter gendering roles. In a letter to Fox CEO Lachlan Murdoch sent last year, ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt wrote that, quote, Carlson's embrace and amplification of white supremacist talking points galvanizes extremists and mobilizes their movements. He added, quote, their heinous acts of violence were spurred in part by many of the same false grievances Carlson espouses each and every night. In a separate letter to Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott, Greenblatt wrote that Carlson's defense of the Great Replacement Theory, quote, is not legitimate political discourse. It is dangerous race baiting, extreme rhetoric. And yet, unfortunately, it is the culmination of a pattern of increasingly divisive rhetoric used by Carlson over the past few years. Murdoch wrote in his response to Greenblatt that the media giant would not be firing Carlson for his statements. Well, somebody find Ari Emanuel. Somebody find Ari Emanuel. Somebody see if you can email or text Ari Emanuel and let him know, by the way, since you're supposed to be this power broker in the media, you're supposed to be this power broker in the entertainment industry, you're going to bring down so much power to bear on other folk here. By the way, Tucker Carlson and Fox News are tooting their butt cheeks up at you. And I don't see you flexing over there. Seems like you're really only targeting powerless people, i.e. black folk, but you're not targeting anybody else. You sent a letter and they were like, man, if you don't get the hell out of here. Now, let me go ahead and read this part. Murdoch wrote in his response to Greenblatt that the media giant would not be firing Carlson for his statements. Quote, a full review of the guest interview indicates that Mr. Carlson decried and rejected replacement theory, end quote. Murdoch wrote in the letter on Sunday to Greenblatt, quote, as Mr. Carlson himself stated during the guest interview, white replacement theory? No, this is a voting rights question. Well, that's actually very misleading. Tucker Carlson has supported the replacement theory. He's literally said it's not a theory. So, yeah, that's just a flat-out false statement and mischaracterization by the Murdochs, which, of course, is what they do for a living. Greenblatt, in turn, called the explanation, quote, an underhanded endorsement of white supremacist beliefs, while ironically suggesting it's not really white supremacism. For their part, white supremacists lauded Carlson for highlighting the unfounded conspiracies of demographic change. Well, it is changing though, sir, so not making yourself look good right now. Praising him for railing against, quote, white genocide on forums such as Gab, Telegram, 4chan, and various white supremacist websites and podcasts. In April, the American Jewish Committee said that, quote, the anti-immigrant, anti-Semitic, and white supremacist theory that Carlson touted is abhorrent and un-American. Fox News should be embarrassed by the hate being espoused on its network. We must call out and fight this extremist rhetoric. Now, when it was Kanye West, you didn't say we just gonna call it out. You called other people. You grabbed the cell phone, sat back, smiled, and dialed, and called up anyone and everyone who would answer the phone and told them, now you know we ain't fooling with Kanye no more, right? You didn't sit up here and say, we are very disappointed in the fact that they accepted this the way we are very disappointed and we must call this out. No, you didn't. You let your fingers do the walking. You let your fingers do the walking and AT&T do the talking. You weren't accepting no damn explanations. It was just, hey, look here. We ain't got to talk to you about nothing. Watch what we can do from here. Watch what we can do from here. We ain't having a debate. It's not a debate. We're going to show you what we can do. They called anybody and everybody. They called anybody who ever worked for Kanye. Remember, they got folk before. Well, he had a hostile work environment. They called anyone and everyone they could. They called up Kim Kardashian and she answered the phone. By the way, one more thing, they called up Kim Kardashian and she answered the phone. By the way, they called her up, she answered the phone straight to Twitter. Straight to Twitter. Yeah. Okay. No, you didn't have to sit up here. We need to call it out. Call out me ass. The call out they did was live, in effect, and in person. And yet for Tucker Carlson, you're freely admitting the most you can do there is, well, you know, we sent a very stern letter to his boss. We sent a very stern letter there. We sent a very stern letter and let them know that we are not interested, that we find this to be very, very disappointing. Kanye West didn't get a stern letter. Kanye West got folk calling up Adidas and every damn thing else. Kanye West got letters to Adidas. He got letters to the record company. He got letters to the stadiums. Next concert Kanye West is going to have is going to be at the Damn Me Waffle House in DeSoto, Texas. Don't expect him to go to Wembley or Madison Square Garden anytime soon. Don't look for it. Now I'm going to go on here. The article goes on to say an Associated Press poll released in May found that nearly half of Republicans in the United States agree, at least partially, with the idea that there is an international effort to crowd white Americans out with immigrants. After a shooter who voiced support for replacement theory in his online manifesto killed 10 black people in Buffalo, New York supermarket in May, Representative Liz Cheney accused the Republican leadership of enabling anti-Semitism and white supremacy. Folks, listen to that sentence one more time. This sentence here from this article from Haaretz, listen to that sentence one more time. After a shooter who voiced support for replacement theory, talking about Peyton Gendron, in his online manifesto killed 10 black people in Buffalo, and you all know I read his manifesto and then YouTube immediately targeted my channel for doing so. He stated he was going after black folk. He specifically stated he was going after black folk. And then, what's that? He made the statement that, you know, as white people, they were immigrants themselves. And then he said, yeah, we immigrants sure are troublesome. But he made it very clear, I'm going after black folk. He shot 10 black people. And Representative Liz Cheney, after this guy shoots 10 black people, Representative Liz Cheney says the Republican leadership is enabling anti-Semitism and white supremacy. Shoots 10 black people and then immediately guides the conversation in a different direction. Shot 10 black people and then she says we need to discuss anti-Semitism. Think about that for a few moments. The article goes on to say the Stop Hate and Profit Coalition called on tech companies to deplatform Carlson for spreading the theory, noting that, quote, mainstreaming of this conspiracy serves as an accelerant to the erosion of our democracy, political divisiveness, increased toxicity online, and decreased faith in public institutions. Next, now here's the next section here, has in bold letters, target on Soros. Carlson has further played a significant role in highlighting conspiracy theories about Jewish billionaire George Soros. He has accused Soros of plotting to destroy Western civilization, trying to make society, quote, more dangerous, dirtier, less democratic, more disorganized, and scheming to increase the number of murders in countries. He is often zeroed in on Hungary, where Carlson is a staunch advocate for authoritarian leader Viktor Orban. He has claimed that Soros is undermining Hungarian society by financing mass migration, further invoking the Great Replacement theory. Carlson went to Hungary to film a special program showing this supposed battle between Soros and Hungary, which not only spread similar anti-Semitic theories about Soros, but included menacing images and dramatic evidence showing supposed proof of Soros' schemes. The special again drew condemnation from the Anti-Defamation League. Greenblatt said, quote, it's appalling to see Tucker Carlson and Fox invoke the kind of anti-Semitic tropes typically found in white supremacist media. Isn't Fox News white supremacist media, Mr. Goldblatt? Mr. Greenblatt? He goes on to say, there is no excuse for this kind of fear-mongering, especially in light of intensifying anti-Semitism. Orban addressed the Conservative Political Action Conference's annual gathering months after Carlson's special, which led to a deluge of Republican officials invoking Soros, despite warnings that such tropes reflect anti-Semitic messages. Now, this reminds me of the interview that the debate that Tariq had with that fella on Twitter, which is, okay, what is it that's being said false? If you're being lied on, then okay, we need to come and say, hey, don't do that. If somebody's telling the truth, you're saying, hey, telling the truth is anti-Semitic? Now, there's where you start getting into trouble. They go on to say here, Republican officials at the state and national levels echoed Carlson's claims that Soros and, quote, Soros-backed attorneys and prosecutors were enabling the spread of violent crime and plotting to destroy America. Carlson defended his criticism of Soros as not anti-Semitic, alleging that his tack is not anti-Jewish since Soros is a critic of Israel. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, quote, when Soros is used as a symbol for Jewish control, wealth, and power, the criticism may be an updated version of traditional anti-Semitic tropes. And yet, Tucker Carlson is still sitting on TV, holding court and entertaining audiences night after night. Nobody's pulled his sponsorships. Nobody has told the cable TV networks. Nobody's told the cable TV owners, the owners of the cable TV systems. Nobody's gotten Comcast, Time Warner, Spectrum, Cablevision if it's still out there in New York. Nobody's gotten a hold of them. Google and Fios. Nobody's gotten a hold of them and said, hey, you need to pull him off of there. And they've had years to do that. Years. And yet he's still right there. Nobody's done anything about the white guy. Kanye West shut down immediately. Kanye started getting doors locked, accounts closed, contracts canceled, lawsuits filed. He started getting all that immediately. Now, Tucker Carlson has been attacking black people now for years and years and years. The Anti-Defamation League didn't have very much to say about that. Kanye West, when he was sitting up here supporting white supremacy against black people, Anti-Defamation League, definitely silent. Adidas, let me go ahead and remind you again. Adidas, the German pronunciation, Adidas didn't pull his contract for what he said about George Floyd and black people in slavery. Ari Emanuel wasn't sending around letters because of what Kanye West said about black folk in slavery. Nobody said anything then. It was only when they thought they had found a group, because you can't use black folk for that. When they thought they had found a group that they could use as a bludgeon and say, okay, this will be the group that we use as our excuse, all of a sudden, everybody's mobilized. All of a sudden, everybody's mobilized. Now, they were dead quiet when we were saying what we were saying then. They didn't have a damn word to say. So it's not accidental. The whole thing is black people are the only people with a legitimate grievance against the government and the society. That is it. You can't dispute our grievance. So since you don't have another group with a legitimate grievance, what they instead do is try to trump up some claim that black people are oppressing somebody else. Well, you're oppressing this group of white people over here. Well, they don't identify as white sometimes. Some of them don't identify as white sometimes, but white is not a religion. White is not a religion. And nobody is talking about the black Jews. Oh, I'm sorry. The white ones will tell you that's being anti-Semitic if you say there are black Jews, because there are. So just recognize what you're seeing here, from Cosby to Kanye. From Cosby to Kanye. They're telling all of us that they are flipping the script on American racism and white supremacy, and that now the true racists are black people. And by the way, it was and is a coalition of your so-called left and your so-called right. It's a coalition of both, because both of them are twin wings on the bird of white supremacy. As Malcolm X warned us decades ago, they've both been looking for a way to neutralize us on both sides. And they don't have a legitimate minority group to do it with. They've been trying everything under the sun. They've been trying to throw everything they can. So it's like, okay, fine, we'll just find a white group to do it with. And we'll use that. But what they're not doing is showing anything legitimate. Now that's what they're not doing. So they're now trying to rewrite society in real time. Hey, black people are the real racists. Black people are the real white supremacists. Didn't you know? Black people are the real white supremacists. Black people are the real problem. Black people are the real issue. You know, there have been white supremacists, but black folk are the real threat. Then they start running down their list of greatest hits. Farrakhan, etc. All of a sudden, you know, your so-called left-wingers start sounding like the right-wingers. And these are all scapegoats. Kanye West is not a power broker. When Dog the Bounty Hunter was saying what he was saying, nobody said that Dog the Bounty Hunter's comments contributed to anti-black violence. Rush Limbaugh, they never said that. Bill O'Reilly, they never said that. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is on television, cable, radio, or anything. When they speak against black folk and paint us as the preeminent problem on planet Earth, nobody says that that contributes directly to anti-black violence. Even when the guys are sitting there with manifestos that say, hey, when I tune in every night to Fox News, that's the only place where I can get the truth. Let me go to Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston and go kill as many little old ladies as I can. Nobody does that. That's not the response they give. Kanye West, whom nobody has died as a result of saying the wackiness he's been saying. Nobody has died about that. No one. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with it. I've already made my statements about what I think there. This is wacky. This is silly. This is stupid. I got a bunch of adjectives, verbs, and nouns you can throw in there. But the bottom line is, he's not giving any orders. He's not giving any shots. Nobody is there are no Peyton Gendrons in their basements furiously writing out a manifesto saying, you know, Kanye is telling the truth. Did you notice that? There's not a Peyton Gendron or a George Zimmerman sitting in their basement somewhere, ripping up the parchment, bamming away at their keyboard furiously to tap out their manifesto. And talking about how Kanye is their thought leader and Kanye had the guts and the courage to tell the truth, and I feel it's necessary. In the chat room, Dave Chappelle, yeah, we're going to make him the face of anti-LGBT right after they tried that with Tracy Morgan. So every time you turn around, that's what they keep doing. That's what they keep doing. There's nobody in their bedrooms, in their basement, at summer camp talking about, you know what, I'm sure glad Kanye said what he said. Let me go buy an AK-47. Nobody is saying that. Nobody has said that. It's not on its way and it's not coming. It's not on its way, and it's not coming. Not now, not ever. There's no Jewish synagogue anywhere that's like, boy, I wish Kanye would stop. We're getting nervous. Nobody is saying that because they know this guy's an entertainer. He doesn't have black support, much less white support, much less white supremacists. It's like, Kanye, we're sure glad that everybody recognizes your name. And that's why everybody wants to cozy up to him. So a bunch of no-name dudes are looking to get the rub. A bunch of no-name dudes and a bunch of no-name females are looking to get the rub off of Kanye. Candace Owens, sitting up here booed up with Kanye, gave her a reason and a justification for her name to be mentioned internationally. Nick Fuentes, now Donald Trump, who turned around and started talking trash. Everybody is using him to raise their profile. But they're not looking to him as an intellectual thought leader. That's the point. They're not looking to Kanye as their intellectual thought leader. Nobody is saying, you know what, I read Kanye's book. Well, he had to write one first. I read Kanye's book and he really laid out the text. Nobody's doing that. Nobody is organizing Unite the Right 3 and advising everybody to study Kanye and his statements. Nobody's doing that. 5 jackalopes on a bridge in Sacramento holding up a sign that don't carry no damn weight. There are more people who show up to buy a damn iPhone in Austin, Texas. Please. You got more homeless people waiting outside of a shelter than you had people on the damn bridge supporting Kanye, if you want to call that support, because everybody is just using this event and this moment in time to promote their interests the way they want to promote it. But that's all they're doing. That's it. And when it's over, what are they going to do? When all this is over, what they're going to do is take black folk and say, okay, this is public enemy number one, including the people who allegedly, supposedly agree with Kanye at this time. Including the folks who allegedly, supposedly agree with him. They too are going to come back in the end and throw black folk under the bus. Case in point, Candace Owens. Has Candace Owens stopped her jihad against black folk? Has Candace Owens stopped her enabling? Has she stopped that? Alex Jones? Has Alex Jones turned over a new leaf? Or is he as anti-black as he's always been? Nick Fuentes, you get the point. Everybody booed up Tucker Carlson. Has Tucker Carlson stopped his anti-black racism? No. They're sitting there with Kanye West, they smiling, they cheesing, they're doing interviews, and then as soon as they get finished talking to him, they come back and talk about what's wrong with black folk. Kanye West has no power, and every single individual attempting to co-opt this and take advantage of it and exploit it, they know the damn truth too. So why are you bringing him up and why are you invoking him? Because you know what the end game is. The end game is to start the discussion with Kanye, but to end the discussion about black folk need to do X, Y, Z. That's what this is about. What it's always been about. They'll start the discussion with Kanye, but they're going to end it by saying, but you know the real problem is black folk, just like Cliven Bundy. Cliven Bundy was asked about why he was sitting up here with his cattle on federal grounds. He started the conversation talking about the overreach of the federal government, and then out of nowhere, swerve, broke off into a damn rant about, but you know the real problem is the niggers. Let me get this straight. All these folks out here are claiming that they're against the federal government and federal government overreach. And when they actually handed the microphone to Cliven Bundy and let him rock out, he started about the federal government and then said, but you know, now that I've got all these cameras here, you should all know the real problem is them Negroes. Not a black person with a ranch. Not one damn claim jumper. Not one black cattle thief anywhere near his land or the federal land he's squatting on. No black folk anywhere near it, but somehow we interrupt this anti-government rally to bring you the 2 minutes hate against black people. We interrupt this so-called anti-federal government rally to bring you the 2 minutes hate. And that's what he did. So just recognize that from Cosby to Kanye, this has been a never-ending effort and campaign to attempt to disarm black people's legitimate grievances against the society so that when we start talking about racism, they'll have some mascots they can throw up. When we start talking about sexual assault, they'll have mascots to throw up. When we start talking about anti-black racism, they'll have a deflection. That's what they're going to try to do. I'm exposing that here tonight so that you understand what they're doing, and so you'll be intellectually armed and socially prepared to shut it down. This doesn't exist in a vacuum. You don't have this kind of widespread. Nothing spreads like this by accident. This only spreads like this when it's engineered. The President of the United States, doesn't he have better damn things to do? Joe Biden doesn't have anything better to do. Kamala Harris, you don't have nothing better to do? On a Friday afternoon, Kamala? Aren't you supposed to be curating your OnlyFans? Joe Biden, aren't you supposed to be, sorting out your dementia pills? Don't you got better things to do on a Friday? Kanye West is the Russians are steamrolling the Ukraine. Illegal aliens are flooding across the border because Joe held the gate open for them. Inflation is out of this world. Car prices are unbelievable. Housing prices are astronomical. The economy is in free fall. Cryptocurrency scams threatening to destroy whole state governments. North Korea slinging missiles like French fries. China, that says it all right there. And Joe Biden's like, we interrupt the world coming to an end to let you know I'm really unhappy with what Kanye's saying. So, and y'all were worried about Trump on Twitter? The problem was Trump on Twitter? Really? Trump needs to get off Twitter? Sir. Well, I've taken care of everything. Everything's going fine. It is? Everything's great now? According to Joe Biden, everything's great now. Everything's fine. According to him, everything's fine. All right, then. It doesn't look so great and so fine to me, but then again, all right, maybe I got that wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines. And you all will have your opportunity to give us a call here. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Brenda Starr, Mr. Brown, the new B1 Media is a lifesaver. Owich Najee, thank you very much for your support. And to everyone there in the Super Chat, we appreciate that as well. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we will have your phone calls and more. I know we've been hitting you hard and heavy. We've been flying like a jet through here, but I wanted to get as much information to you as possible, as quickly as possible. So go ahead here. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, your phone calls and more. This is The Black Channel.
Life Recruiting and Consulting specializes in direct placement. If your company is looking to hire top talent, or you are looking to start a new career, our network of professional recruiters can help. We provide recruiting, LinkedIn lead generation, access to our professional network, paid job postings, interviewing, and more. Check out our specialized services: information technology recruiting, STEM career consulting, sales recruiting, hiring process consulting for your business, resume writing, LinkedIn profile consultation. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn and get higher with us.
Girl, I am so tired of Twitter and TikTok. We need something just for us.
Yeah, and I would post on 6-0s, but they don't have a mobile app.
That's a lie. 6-0s actually does have a mobile app. It's available on iOS and Android. That's your phone?
Yeah.
That is humongous.
Anyway.
6-0s is where the Black community taps into unfiltered and authentic conversations on the topics we know and love. I gotta get out of here. But remember, don't just sign up.
We know. Host.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the Black media. We have over 5,000 people in here listening live. We are not a little thing. Big shout out here to Queen Obsidian Code, Tommy Felix, and everybody else who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. The links are in the description. Thank you very much to my mods. We're going to go ahead and break things open here. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Dre from New Jersey.
Dre from New Jersey, what's on your mind?
You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. That the president wants to take time out to address Kanye West when the economy is tanking. You're absolutely right, sir. Call it out, please. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here today. I mean, that'd be like the mayor of New York City. Crime is all over the damn place. You know, gentrification is out of control. Nobody can afford to live. Nobody can afford to eat. You don't have a gas station anymore. And imagine if he wanted to stop and talk about that. You got way bigger fish to fry. Way bigger. Caller from area code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, yes, Mr. Black. This is Kendall Bragg from Richmond, Virginia. I just wanted to just say, yeah, there are bigger fish to fry. I had young white people asking me, come on, so what do you think about Kanye? I was like, don't care. But what do you think about reparations for black people? And they walked away.
Like I say, they definitely understand the value of this. They think that they have found a way to neutralize black people's arguments against white supremacy. Period, point blank, end of discussion. They think that's what they found. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 704. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Lanisa Turner. I'm calling from Concord, North Carolina.
All right, Lanisa from Concord. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm really disgusted in this presidential administration focusing on Kanye when he has, like you said, the inflation, the war in Ukraine, all the other things he needs to be focused on. And then Kamala chiming in and she's quiet as a country mouse when it comes to us. This is why we need to stop voting Democrat. They have shown who they are, and they are not on our side. And I just wanted to say it's a great program tonight. I'm learning so much. And B1.
B1 sister, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 626. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What is your name? Where you calling from?
Okay. Long time. Okay, look, I'm Shawnee, and I'm calling from California. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I donated $19, and I said, oh, my God, he's going to get me because everybody else was sending much more money. So I'm going to have to up my donation game, and I'm going to let you know next show I'm going to do that. I'm going to send you more. Anyways, I said, okay, please don't jump down my throat. But anyways, I don't really have anything to say other than I like the work you're doing. I like what you're doing. And I think it's time that we need to we need to get out of trying to be accepted in the white circles and take care of the business that pertains to us right now. Everybody, worrying about what white folks think about us and everything, they ain't never going to want us around. They've been trying to get rid of us since Reconstruction. Since slavery ended, they've been trying to figure out how to get rid of the Negro, okay? And as for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, no, they don't have nothing else to do but to sit around on a Saturday and talk about Kanye West because she be on timeout most of the time, okay? And she doesn't come out unless they go get her out the corner and tell her to come out and say something. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be up a creek without a paddle. We need to just start focusing on our business and stop running behind these white folks. And that's B1 for me.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Jason, this is Bill calling out of Chicago.
Bill out of Chicago, what's on your mind?
Yeah, Jay. It just occurred to me that it seems like that everything you say, anything about the Jewish people is anti-Semitic. When Kanye said that the Jewish people run Hollywood, I mean, everybody knows that. They do run Hollywood. And when Tyreek had a conversation with this guy, Jewish Peter was saying that if you say too much about the atrocities of the Jewish people or the monopoly that they have in this world, it's anti-Semitic. I just don't get that. When he was talking about that, like if you say too much truth about what the Jewish people have done or what they have conquered, that is anti-Semitic. And as a matter of fact, Henry Ford of the Ford dealership or the Ford owner, he had a committee go out there to Germany to find out what about the truth about the Holocaust. And he sent experts out there and said, according to Henry Ford, the experts went out there and said that, hey, it's impossible to kill 6 million of those people in 4 years. His expert came back and told the United States Senate, said, hey, something about this ain't right.
Well, certainly that's not impossible to do so. So if you have an expert that tells you that, that's just flat out. That's not a very good expert if you have somebody saying that. Not a very good expert at all. However, the point that the fella did make about when he's basically the point that he was making that any criticism against Jewish people, he was saying that needed to be handled behind closed doors, or that needed to be handled privately, or whatever the case may be. Which, of course, I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. Let's start with Kanye and Kyrie. Oh, well, that doesn't need to be handled privately. That needs to be handled in front of the world and whatnot. So, yeah, the real thing is having this unfair, out of balance situation. That's what we're not gonna tolerate here. Nobody is in favor of persecuting anyone. By the same token, we are not going to be sitting up here in a situation where people are going to try to redefine these things to include us, where we get held out for special persecution. Even if we didn't do anything wrong, we just have the ability to do so. So I don't blame him, to be totally honest with you. I don't blame him for trying to defend his position or whatever. This idea, however, that when you're right, you're right, and when you're wrong, you're right, then that's going to be something I'm not going to co-sign. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 470. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Tracy from Lithonia.
Okay, Tracy from Lithonia. What's on your mind?
Hey, I just wanted to thank you, man. You was the first one to hit me to these white feminists that are not let these sisters know that these white feminists are not their ally. And I would have had wasted a vote. You can vote smart as who helps you in your community. These folks don't even come to our community campaigning when they're running. And you hit me to how they were trying to run a scam with Stacey Abrams there. And we got to be smarter with our vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And once again, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat. Thank you very much for that. Big shout out here to Mr. Cocaine. Thank you very much for your support here. He knows who he is on PayPal. Big shout out here to you. Thank you very much for your support and to everybody here, because this brings us to another element I want you all to think about. YouTube is the biggest proponent here of white supremacy, because white supremacy's foundation is its economy. Folks, for those of you who are not aware, there's a YouTuber, and I mean, man, this guy here, if you want to see exactly how well this goes for these folks, man, this guy's got a YouTube channel. He's got, over the course of 2 years, he went from 30,000 subscribers to almost 400,000. He just did a Kickstarter and has raised he asked for $1 million. His name Brandon Sorensen. He's asked for $1 million and raised $41 million for a novel that he wrote allegedly here during the pandemic. And what I'm saying is, having that kind of reach, having that kind of ability, Brandon Sanderson. His name is Brandon Sanderson. You can look him up on YouTube. He held a Kickstarter. He asked for $1 million. He's raised over $41 million. In effect, with that kind of money, that's venture capital that's created him into a media company of his own. And YouTube facilitates that for white people all the time. It is an affirmative action program to cultivate white wealth every single day. That's white supremacy. Kanye West running his mouth is not white supremacy. When you have the ability to unilaterally enrich white people, I'm talking about a white guy y'all never heard of before, and he's now sitting on 41 million. Didn't take him a lifetime. While YouTube suppresses our channels, didn't take him a lifetime. Over the course of 24 months, YouTube brought him from 30,000 to almost 400,000 people. That's an affirmative action program. That's white supremacy in action, because he's just one among many. Jake Paul, Logan Paul, you get the point. Joe Rogan, Tim Pool. YouTube doesn't give them thousands. YouTube makes sure they got millions and hundreds of millions, and I'm not being exaggerating. The Paul brothers, at this point, you have to count their money in hundreds of millions. You can't count it in millions anymore. They make sure that white people stay papered up. That's the purest form of white supremacy. Not talking trash. That's the purest form of white supremacy. That's a point to remember. As black people, everything else could stay equal. And we be cool. Everything else could stay equal and we can be cool. If they wanted to sit up here and do that, that would be perfectly fine if they wanted to do that. As long as we were being equally armed, as long as we were being equally benefited, but when you're sitting up here suppressing black people and then promoting white folk, that is white supremacy. That right there. When you can make multi-millionaires out of white people in a week, in a month. I'm talking about not a little bit. He didn't just get 1 or 2 million, 41 and counting. $41 million and counting. A white dude y'all never even heard of. And YouTube has made sure that he is completely papered up and is essentially a media company unto himself. And he's just a random guy. Let me say this again. He's just a random guy. There's nothing special about him. He's not a superstar. He's not a celebrity. He's not some superstar New York Times bestselling writer. He's just a random white dude on YouTube. And yet when that name blows up, we can put millions behind him. That's white supremacy. That's the reason we have to have reparations, and that's the reason why trying to change the subject onto Kanye West and claim that anybody black could possibly be racist or whatever, that's nonsense. Let me tell you something right now. Kanye West doesn't have the power to stop a damn thing in this world from happening to him. You can talk about the money, you can talk about the cars, you can talk about Yeezys, you can talk about the 5 Maybachs he bought Kim. There was a waste of sheet metal. You can talk about the house, you can talk about the tours, you can talk about the platinum plaques, you can say anything you want there. Random white people with nowhere near his amount of money are eating his damn lunch now. All he needs is one random white woman to say he grabbed me on the rump, and that's that. All you need is one random white woman to make an accusation, and here comes the media. Okay, that's what we were looking for. So I wanted to put that in this proper context of exactly where we fall in this hierarchy here. If we had if they were stopped, the whole thing about white supremacy is when a black person like Kanye shows up and says something that doesn't even need to be repeated, all of a sudden, that gets pushed to the top of the feed. That's at the top of the timeline. That gets a huge echo chamber. Random white male behind the scenes, when you're doing this for white people as a daily course of events. That as a white person, whiteness means you get boosted by YouTube as a daily course of events. Here's 41 million for you. The Logan Paul, here's 100 million for you. Here you go. And for black people, making sure that we're silenced. I want you to understand what white supremacy really looks like. Caller from area code 267. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, yes, this is Tammy calling from PA Williamsport. How are you? I would like to make a few points. I just find it interesting that our politician is, like everybody was saying, coming against Kanye. Now, I'm not a big fan of Kanye, and I feel like a lot of the things he does is for shock value, and he doesn't think before he acts. But I remember, what's his name? Oh my God, I forgot the guy's name. It was he's Howard Stern. Yes, was dressed in blackface, mocking black people. I don't remember anybody saying that he was doing hate speech. I remember Whoopi Goldberg's husband, who was Jewish, was wearing blackface. There's quite a few of them that have done stuff like this. The crypto scammer, who's also Jewish, the FTX guy who's stolen millions of dollars. All these people have actually hurt people and done things. They don't talk about a lot of the Jewish mafia over there in Israel who murder like African Jews. You know, there's so much things that they do, and it's so hypocritical It's even disgusting. Now,
Well, you know,
again, I'm not a
it reminds me of that actor. I forget his name off the top of my head, but everybody knows him. There's this black dude. He's running around. He's obviously mentally and emotionally unstable. And he's claiming he slept with Nick Cannon, and he used to be on TV. What was his name? I don't know if it was Orlando Jones. I forget the name off the top of my head, but you know, when he says something, it gets dismissed. Kanye West has come out and literally said, by the way, I'm bipolar, I got issues, and they're quoting him as if he is a stable, reliable source of his statements. That's the problem. What they say, Orlando Brown. Kanye West and Orlando Brown are damn near on the same level, except Kanye's been able to hold it together a little bit longer to be able to make albums.
Right.
Kanye's been able to hold it a little bit better to make albums. And think about that for a moment. Nobody's sitting up here saying that Orlando Brown, what he's saying is legit. You know why? Because they know if they sit up here and treat him like he's legit, he's going to start yelling a bunch of white men's names. If Entertainment Tonight or somebody shove a microphone in his face, he going to start saying a bunch of white men's names. Well, we ain't giving you the microphone for that. We're not going to give you the microphone for that. But for Kanye, who is obviously dealing with a number of different issues, and understand one more thing. Isn't this like ableist? No, I meant what I said. Isn't this ableist? If Kanye is dealing with some mental or emotional handicaps, how is it you're going to keep shoving a microphone in his face for him to say more outlandish things, knowing that the source of it is a mental and emotional instability? What the hell ever happened to the ableist crowd, the LGBT ableist crowd? Aren't you supposed to be protecting Kanye? It's like, hey, don't ask him any questions. You know he's dealing with issues. Don't play his videos. Why, you need to treat that like misinformation. Remember during COVID, why you shouldn't be disseminating misinformation. Hunter Biden's laptop, that's misinformation. Well, you shouldn't be disseminating misinformation. Leave Kanye alone. Why, this is ableist. He's got disability issues. Why are you putting a microphone in the face of somebody who's got obvious issues? Why, you're oppressing him. You're making fun of him. That's discrimination. That's mocking the handicapped. Black to death, that's what I'm saying. Where are the so-called mental health advocates? You know, the same folk who show up when a white kid shoots up a school or a restaurant or a playground. By the way, where are the mental health advocates for Kanye, who we've confirmed is on antidepressants and probably on other medications? He's probably on borderline personality disorder medications at this point. He's probably on BPD medications at this point. Or at least he should be. If he ain't taking them, he damn sure needs to start. But nobody's treating it like that. You see, when you're black, your mental and emotional disabilities are cause for A, entertainment, and B, persecution. We've already established this isn't a guy who's completely emotionally and mentally balanced. We've already established that. So why is the media engaging in this kind of behavior? Where are the so-called snowflake woke folk to sit up in Hollywood who love to stand up for every damn thing else? I guess because he's not trying to fill on little kids. I guess that makes it not worth defending. But by the way, y'all are showing your racism here. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes. This is also how I feel about Kanye. I feel like he's a part of these people. I feel like he's working with them to intentionally undermine Black people. I don't know about their thoughts. I sincerely don't think that he cares about anybody, because he hangs up with known Satanists, and he's done things in the past that's very questionable. And I don't know why Black people look at him like somebody spiritual, but I honestly think that he's a part of that group. He's just trying to, I think he's co-op. Like, I feel like he's an insurgent. Like, they're using him as a way to put a target on our back. And you might think I'm a conspiracy theorist, but that's the way I think. I honestly don't think he's sincere in anything he's doing.
Well, I mean, how sincere can you be if you're dealing with, if you need to be on medications? How sincere can you be? That's my real point. If this were anybody else, if this were Britney Spears, Charlie Sheen, they wouldn't even let you do this. They wouldn't let you play the damn interviews. If this was Princess Diana, they wouldn't let you play it. They wouldn't let you, if it was Chelsea Clinton, they wouldn't let you play it. They wouldn't be shoving a microphone in her face.
True.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 248. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Andrea from Detroit, Michigan.
Andrea from Detroit, what's on your mind?
I was seeing some news article, and it was saying that Amazon is not going to take off the Hebrews to Negroes movie off their platform. And immediately I went and I said, well, ADL, where you at? Because, if this movie was so egregious and so promoting hate speech, I mean, you should be right there, right? But, of course, crickets. And so, I don't know. I mean, is there any value in, I guess, creating our own type of ADL league? But I feel like, with Black Lives Matter and any other group, NAACP, it's just not, when we try to form groups that are supposed to be designed to help us and assist us, they're nowhere to be found in the right manner, or they're delegitimized by greed or theft or whatever, or they're co-opted by whites, and suddenly it's all about the LGBTs and the alphabet mafia, whatever. So,
well, I mean, as far as an anti-defamation league is concerned, we are that. We are that. There's a reason that Kyrie Irving did not get kicked out of the NBA. I told y'all what it was going to be. I had a caller who called me during the program and said, Jason, is he going to be able to stay? And I'm like, I got questions about if he can, but if he survives this, the only way he can is if we as black people as a group refuse to abandon him. If we make it very clear we're not going to turn our backs on him, we're not going to stand down, and we're not going to demand that he apologize to anybody, if we stand firm, that's Kyrie's only chance. We stood firm. What happened a week later? All of a sudden they backed off of him. So what I'm telling you is I think it's safe to say that you can see a clear difference between the response that Kanye got and the response that Kyrie got. Kanye, it was open season because he has no core black support. He has none. And the folks after him know that. Kyrie was a different story. We understood, okay, you got to go get a bull jive ass apology. All right, fine. And then Kyrie stood his ground. He didn't grovel. He didn't anything else. That was it. And we didn't abandon him. He didn't come out talking about ain't no racism, ain't no white. He didn't do any of that. So we didn't abandon him. And when it was very clear that I'm talking about at the grassroots level, the Black Street did that. Then the celebrity class was brought in later. So all your commentators and athletes and celebrities, they followed us. We stood firm for Kyrie first, and then the celebrity class followed us when they realized, I'll be damned, black folk are not separating on this. They standing strong for him. So all the rest of them came, and then you have the white corporate media say, I'll be damned, they ain't gonna let him go. This is Kaepernick 2.0, except he's still in the league. We better fall back and wait to see if we get another opportunity to take a shot at him. Let's fall back now and see if we get another chance to come at him later, but they're not abandoning him. In the case of Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby's black support wasn't solid after not just the pound cake speech, but then when he went on Meet the Press with Tim Russert. I did programs about that. I'm like, oh no, Bill. He fractured his black support, so they let him do that first, and then they said, now we can get him. Tiger Woods, he fractured his black support. Now we can get him. O.J. Simpson, now we can get him. Every time you turn around, that's the event they got to make first is, okay, we got to make sure you have no black support. Michael Jackson never lost his black support. I'm trying to tell y'all what it is every time you see that. O.J. Simpson, when he went to trial in 94, 95, when he went to trial, he had black support. When he got arrested in Vegas, he didn't. Michael Jackson's black support was intact. Bill Cosby's wasn't. O.J. Simpson's in the criminal trial was intact. O.J. Simpson's black support in the civil trial wasn't. R. Kelly, no black support. Kanye West, no black support. So I'm showing you that there's a consistent theme running here. If they got black support before these people can act against them, that in many cases serves as a powerful deterrent. They're like, okay, we got to circle back and try again later. But if they can fracture your black support first, you're a sitting duck. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, so you're saying that there's no value with creating like a true institution or association to where if there's, a unjust murder trial going on or another Breonna Taylor where we're actually there and with legal, not even with pulling up, but just money so that there's lawyers and fees and where we can create legal briefs and actually maybe sue the federal government for our rights and reparations. I mean,
okay,
is there no point to that?
Well, it's not that there's no point to it, but these are not things that just sprang into existence on their own. You've got to have 3 critical elements. Number 1, you have to have a competent operative class. And right now, our best and brightest black competent legal minds work for white firms. Johnny Cochran was really the last great black legal mind that didn't work for a white firm, didn't work for a white corporation. He was free to pursue the interests of his people. So that was a critical key difference. Yes, we have some very good black lawyers out there, but most of them get snapped up by white corporations, white firms, and then you never see from them again. Johnny was an anomaly. So my suggestion would be, if your so-called black HBCUs and whatnot, if they cannot sit up here and crank out for us a competent legal class, then there is no reason for the HBCUs to exist. Because you see, when you're talking about your Jewish universities and whatnot, they bring out a competent class of citizen, competent operatives. When Dr. John Henry Clark talked about Brandeis, they have competence in their institutions. That's first and foremost what we need. I'm not going to say the names, but y'all know the names. Yeah, we got black lawyers out there and whatnot, but nobody considers them to be your best and brightest. Nobody considers them to be your most competent. Nobody wants to see any of them filing a brief with the Supreme Court or a banana boat. So first and foremost, we don't have a competent operative class the way we need to. Ours gets targeted to be co-opted and integrated into another machine. That's the first thing. Even if you didn't have money, at the very least, if you had competent people, because you take a look at things like the Mormon Church, or what is that? Tom Cruise's church. I forget the name off the top of my head.
Scientology.
Yeah, Scientology. How they did with David Miscavige and what they did to the IRS. If you have that going together, then yeah. Even if you don't have necessarily all the money in the world, if you have competent people, that can supersede the need for money like that. Now, next thing is a lot of funding. Money may not be the most important thing, but it's an important thing. The ADL is fully funded. The Jewish League is fully funded. These things are fully funded. Let me go ahead and remind black folks right here. These other folk don't have dumbasses in their group talking about money don't matter. You too worried about the white man's dollar. You need to be worrying about starting a farm. That's not the socioeconomic strategy over there, and those are not the conversations that they have. Why you got to have your money together, brother? Credit is debt, brother. See, that's not what happens over there. They don't have childish, infantile, pointless idiots talking to them like that. When they get together, they pass the hat, they pass the bag, they collect the money. These landlords with their Section 8 all over the place. Anybody who's been on Ocean Avenue over there in New York City, stand up. Brooklyn, stand up. All up and down Ocean. I ain't telling you what somebody else told me. I'm telling you what I seen. Apartment building after apartment building. Hasidic Jews and the newspapers in New York have done stories about that. How this is basically an open scandal. Can't even call it an open secret. It's an open scandal that you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of Jewish women, perfectly able-bodied, not working on Section 8, on food stamps, welfare, the whole 9 yards, because it's their religion that they shouldn't have to work. And oh yeah, many of the males, why it's their religion, we should be focused on our religious studies. We can't even call this an open secret. It's more of an open scandal. Okay, but how did they get away with it? Because the buildings are all owned by Jewish landlords. This has been reported in the news. This is not Jason Black talking. We covered this years ago. New York Times, New York Post. This is not Jason Black talking. This has been known now for years and years and decades. These buildings are owned by Jewish landlords. They let in Jewish people, and that's how they keep this thing perpetuated. This is an ethnic practice that we have in our buildings. You can't get in there if you're not Jewish. You can't get in there if you're not Jewish. That's up and down the boulevard. Meanwhile, you come over, but you can't have that situation if you ain't got somebody who's papered up properly. Come over here to Black Society and you start talking about having an institution like you're talking about. That thing's got to be funded, ma'am. You got to file papers with the court. That costs money. Days in court and motions, that's going to cost money. Bringing in witnesses and travel, that costs money. Research, filing documents, that costs money. Requesting documents, that costs money. That's not free. That's not free. Somebody got to foot the bill. And the better financed you are, the better. So if you have competent operatives who are well financed, that makes all the difference in the world. Yeah, you got competent operatives, but you know what? OJ got off because he had competent operatives and they were well financed. They weren't sitting there with a shoestring budget with bubblegum and baling wire, as we say in Louisiana. And then third, you're going to have a media apparatus that speaks in your defense and to your interests. Those are the three things that you would have to have some equivalent to the ADL work. The NAACP does not work because it's at any one time, it's missing one or more of those three parts. I would suggest to you that it never has competent operatives. That one's always missing. What little financing they do have, meh. Media operatives, does Roland Martin count? So if you want to know why that one doesn't work very well. But yes, understand, these other folks didn't do this out of nowhere. They didn't do this out of nowhere. When you talk about the Abrams and the Goldsteins and whatnot, they're competent people. They're not idiot attorneys. They're competent. They are very good at what they do. They know the system inside and out. They know the motions to file. They're very good at what they do. And when they get in front of the microphone and start speaking, you can immediately tell. You ain't never had a Jewish attorney for the ADL get in front of the microphone. Well, you know what it is. I feel like what we should say is that we need to have a moment here. You know, Amber Geiger didn't know no better. You've never heard that occur. It ain't happened. So yes, you can do it, but those are the steps you'd have to have. In my opinion, if that's the kind of thing you want to go for, you need to start putting the pressure super heavy on your HBCUs, because the young black people going into law, those are your future competent operatives. You can't get them from the current class. You can't get it from them. They're either focused on money, hoes, and clothes, chasing a zaddy, or going to work for Nabisco and General Mills. So it's going to have to be from your young up-and-comers, because the old ones have already been bought off. That's just it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 734. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Trey from Mr. calling. Yeah, I'm just looking and examining this. Like, it's so ridiculous because these white Jewish people, they are not in any position where anyone can touch them. But I have a question, because I do know a lot of black business owners in my family that are from the older generation, and they've walked around saying that we need white people's money, we need Jewish people money, and I'm like, do you think that if Kanye made the decision to only be connected to black people in business the best way he can, not work for any white people or have any contracts with any white people or Jewish people or anything, and solely survived off the black community, is there really anything that the several Jewish white supremacists who are in power could even do to him besides debank him?
I mean, here's the real thing. You all have to be wary of taking economic advice from economically incompetent people. I'm just going to say it straight like that. You have to be very wary about taking your economic advice from economically incompetent people. You should only take advice from people with wins under the belts. Everybody else, at this point, this critical juncture, you shouldn't even hold a conversation with them. Shouldn't even hold a conversation. You can't make a substantial amount of money in this country without being able to do business with white folk. You can try it with black people. That can be a good feeder and a good starter. But if you're going to become a truly viable national and international concern, you got to be able to do business with everybody. Now, the real thing is doing it from a position of strength, and hopefully you can keep your integrity intact, which Kanye has not been doing very well at. But first and foremost, brother, if you're going to take economic advice, you got to take it from economically competent people. You can't take advice from folks who are telling you what they wish on stuff they've never done. Your uncle making $40,000 a year working at the dog food company really isn't qualified to weigh in on who you should do business with, because he ain't in business. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Y'all, folk who are not in business really don't have, and of any consequence, don't really have any business, pardon the expression, trying to tell you how it should be done. He ain't did it yet. Caller from area code 630, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Nick from Chicago by way of Houston.
Nick from Chicago, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I have 3 quick points. One, on the Brandon Sanderson. The only reason I know about him is because of my ex, and she followed a lot of fantasy novels and science fiction. Well, he's more of a fantasy writer, and he took over from another writer. He's good for the Mistborn series, and he's been trying to get that on TV. I think this so-called algorithm definitely boosted him up to put him up to become the #1 Kickstarter that they raised in history. So, yeah, it's just surprise.
Here's my thing about him.
Bestseller.
I don't know who this guy is, but here's my thing. I went to look if he's a bestseller. I didn't see anything like that. And here's my thing. I took a look at his numbers. In May of 2020, he only had 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. In May of 2020, he only had 30,000. By May of 2022, he's well over 300,000 by that point. So that's why I'm like, okay, if he was a best-selling writer or something, I'd expect to see more of a following and everything. So I don't know what he's done, but based on what I've seen there, either he's just been flying real low below the radar, but it doesn't seem to be anything of really tremendous consequence. It seems like he's more of a niche person. Like he's got a bit of a following, but he ain't up there with Stephen King or Dean Koontz or George R.R. Martin or anything like that. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and swear to it. Don't know who the guy is, but if I'm wrong, you can correct me on that. But I didn't see anything of any real consequence. Not tremendous, not New York Times best-selling consequence. If I'm wrong, I'll just be wrong on that because I'm like, hey, I just heard the guy myself. But my cursory look, I didn't see anything like that. And for his numbers to be that low 2 years ago, because he was on YouTube before 2 years ago, but he didn't have any numbers like that. And then just out of nowhere, I shouldn't say out of nowhere, but through the pandemic, he just spikes. And it's not like I haven't seen him cranking out a bunch of work like that. So if I'm wrong, I'm just wrong, but I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, he's sold about, last I checked, was about between 18 and 22 million books, but that's over a decade and a half, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to write myself, and I got out of it just because of this white supremacy thing. I went in to talk to some people in Hollywood, but that's another topic. But as far as that, I wouldn't say he's a good seller at all. He has a niche and a big following, but that's about it. I wouldn't have known about him if it wasn't for my ex.
Kind of like Tyler Perry. You know, he's got a niche audience. He's got some folks.
Yeah.
From what I gather, he's really got up until this point, he had a hardcore following is how he got started. And then he comes to YouTube. So obviously this was part of a plan. I ain't hating on that. That's perfectly fine. But when you turn all of these Silicon Valley companies that are getting government help and government support, government law support, corporate support, when you have all these companies that get this kind of thing and then they steer it and direct it solely for the benefit of the white people, there's where you have a problem. So like I say, I'm not saying the guy was a nobody, but I am going to say that this wasn't George R.R. Martin. This wasn't J.K. Rowling. This wasn't that. This is a guy who had a following. Okay, it was probably significant enough that he could parlay it. Sure. Heavy hitter, major name, that wasn't what I was seeing. I didn't see that, and I'm still not getting that vibe. However, he's been given everything he needs to get there. Quality of his work notwithstanding. He's been given everything he needs. And nobody's questioning that.
Yeah, definitely. Because getting to the second point, and I guess this goes into the third one too, was that on my sports channel, I've tested out a couple of things. I've even recorded it, talked to YouTube chat, and the shadow banning is so apparent to black creators. As soon as they find out you're a black creator, many people thought I was white for whatever reason. As soon as they found out I was black, for sure black, my channel got suppressed slightly. Then I started testing out with certain words that I'll say or YouTube posts. YouTube customer service or the lack thereof is telling me there is no such thing as an algorithm. I got all of this recorded. So I'm just building up a case study right here, but I wanted to speak to them. The only black people, like what you said last week, that will get any significant numbers, Facebook or Meta, the U.S. government, all of these, the World Bank, they all have the data. Black people set the trends. Black people create all of the topics. Black people, this leading everything. Yet, on the most so-called free speech platforms, the things that you would think, if you got brands like a Jordan brand, Tiger Woods, before he got knocked off and everything like that, if we're leading all of these things, how come we are not leading in all of the money on these social media platforms? And there's got to be something that we can do. And one of the things I'll say here, and I'll land my plane here, is that we got to keep pushing this, not only online. I'm hitting everybody that I talk to on a regular basis. It's making me angrier and angrier as I'm speaking about this, because there's so many people that know better, but they keep putting their freaking heads down, and I'm keeping my boot on their freaking necks. Anybody that talks to me, they're going to hear it. They're going to say, hey, we need reparations. We need to go after these tech companies. We need to go after every single institution that's out here. I'm saying it over and over. Run for your school board. Run for this. Run for that. I'm telling them, I don't care what. They got to get at least manage through 5 minutes through this, because we can't just do it online. Because if they're suppressing us, your numbers should be in the millions right now. So we got to say this offline, everybody. We got to say this offline as well. And make sure everybody, in order to talk to you, you got to give it to them at least once or twice in those conversations.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Certainly it's not accidental when those things occur. Now that's white supremacy. Kanye West is just annoying. Let me get caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is Leroy from Atlanta.
Leroy from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Man, a couple of things. When you were saying about white supremacy and what the J Squad, we're just calling that, are doing, man, it's so deep. Couple of things, like I said, it more than white supremacy. They trying to paint us as anti-Semitic, the face of anti-Semitism. Because I mean, you see what they did to Kyrie, and he not even a Christian. And then you look at how Kanye is carrying on. Dude, he a op. He's a straight up op. But when if they ever try and say it out loud and direct, our immediate defense is LeBron James, because this clown threw the whole Kanye interview in the trash because he was told to do that. We got a bunch of yes men who look like us but not for us. They work for them. And we got to be careful of those kind. And the last caller called it out. Y'all are being suppressed. I mean, my cousin, who is so far left, he don't even know which direction is right. He sent me a link to some white dude who got millions of subscribers, but then when you look at the programs, and I don't even watch the programs, I look at the numbers. You look at the number of comments. You got a couple of hundred comments, but you got millions of followers. That shit don't add up. It don't. But yet they keep feeding us these lies and painting us as the face of anti-Semitism, the face of gay, anything and everything except for what we are.
It's an attempt to rewrite it for the 21st century. And that is diabolical at its heart, and it's an attempt in the 21st century to rewrite it and change the subject. Because if everybody can be a white supremacist, then there is no white supremacy. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. If you all want to know in a nutshell, Jason, what's the goal? If everybody can be a white supremacist, then there is no white supremacy. If everybody can be it. Let me get caller from area code 505. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. This is Najee calling from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Najee from Albuquerque. What's on your mind?
It occurs to me that the thing that Kanye is going through is, well, I won't say it's like ironclad similar, but it seems similar to what Michael Jackson was going through just before he was wiped out or whatever, or taken out. In that it seems like they can surround you with like a circle of people trying to control you and gaslight you and stuff, and then make you kind of mentally ill, and then you accept it and take their medication, and then boom, you're mentally ill. I just want to put that out there. Thanks for your broadcast and everything, Jason Black. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 914. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good night, Jason. My name is Michael, and I'm calling from New York, Bronx, New York.
Michael from the Bronx, what's on your mind?
Well, I like to say that they're gonna bury you, brother, because you're very truthful. So they're gonna bury you. Remember that. They're gonna bury you because you're very, very truthful. I've been listening to you for like 5 or 6 years, and I learned a lot from listening to you. And they're gonna bury you because you're very truthful. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing, I'm listening to you talk about Kanye and stuff like that. And I remember I listened to a broadcast that you gave, and you was talking about over in Germany where they could differentiate between phenotype. But you got to understand in America, it's about racism, and it's blacks are the most hated people all over this world. So Joe Biden and all these people, they're gonna get on code because Kanye, he has a mental disorder, so they don't care about that. The thing is that he's black, so they all gonna get on code. White Jews, wherever they want to call themselves, Anglos, whatever they call themselves, they all gonna get on code because black people they are hated everywhere. So You know, that's just my point and my opinion on things.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 803. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is B1 Rich calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, Rich from Charlotte. What's on your mind?
So I'm wondering if there's any danger in how I think black people, we're usually we hold ourselves the most accountable. Like the way other groups, they'll defend each other no matter what. There'll always be someone in their corner. With us, it seems like unless you say you can have a good message, but if you don't say it in a way that doesn't hurt, doesn't offend anybody or anything like that, then all of a sudden you're easy pickings, like the other people you described earlier. And with Kanye, I do not think I agree 100% that as far as strategy goes, throwing yourself out there head first in a line of fire and risking all the money that you could use for a good cause, all of that, I see how that is foolish. But this is starting a conversation that we haven't talked about for a long time. And it goes back to what happened to Sam Cooke, what happened to Michael Jackson, OJ. Like, there is a group of people that, you know, not all of them as a collective around, like just the people that are in power that collude together and they exploit us. And then Kanye also talks about how many black people died from abortion and how that gets pushed on us, and talks about the Democratic plantation mindset where we do all the work and they get all the benefits and give it to other people.
And that's the tactic that they use for it. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Brother Jason. This is G from New Orleans. How are you doing tonight?
G from New Orleans. What's on your mind?
Hey, brother. I know you have a busy show, so I'm going to try and be as brief as I can with just two statements. Number one, starting with YouTube and the algorithm, I say lawsuits. We need to start filing lawsuits on these bastards. I know they have some already, but they're suppressing free speech, and even though they're a private company, they still are in the market to the public. And I have a YouTube channel myself, brother, and my highest YouTube video was back in 2018. I talked about the Aretha Franklin video, and I got over 4,000 views. I have over 1,200 subscribers, but yet every time I'm looking at my views, they're always low. And honestly, I've known they are suppressing stuff because I get some of my videos taken down from back months ago with no explanation. Meanwhile, it's the videos that show twerk videos or these couples that do pranks that's getting hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views. YouTube twerking videos. I don't understand this shit. But that's the stuff they're doing. They don't like it when black people, black men in particular, have bass in their voice and they're strong. Then the other thing I want to mention with Kanye, what you're saying about him, Kanye is a fool. Kanye West, you know, people talk about business moves. He's doing what business moves? What chess moves? He's playing Chinese marbles. He's not making no business moves. This man lost $600 million for saying stuff. And let's be real. It's more of a private thing with dealing with he had with Adidas, because I heard he didn't like his contract. They talked about him buying Paula, which I had heard, but I heard that that's not happening. So all it's going to take next for him, like Eddie Griffin said, every black man that's in this business doesn't die clean. All it's going to take, he's one white woman away from being another Bill Cosby or Tiger Woods or Cuba Gooding Jr. They're always going to come with some shit. And you know what? To a degree, he doesn't have that base like he doesn't have the base like some of the other black stars who get in trouble that we supported, because he's alienated black people with the remarks he's made. And now you go on Alex Jones talking about you love him, and even Alex Jones was trying to give him a break. So, I mean, certainly this is on him. I mean, I do not like dogpiling on our people, even if I disagree with him. I will say that much. But, you know, he's saying this stuff, you know, eventually I wouldn't be surprised if you hear something about Kanye and the news bad, you know, something even worse than this. And I'm really tired of them going back over this. We got more, like you said, Nazi white supremacists out there that
well,
are doing
certainly
stuff.
going
This man doesn't have
forward,
the
he's going
ability
to
to
have
control
that
anything.
issue. That's for certain. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Going forward, like I say, you've opened the floodgates on that. Kanye, right now, just understand Kanye is a metaphor. He is something that's being used for the purposes of repainting us as the core of America's ills, and then by proxy, disarming us. Because if everybody can be a white supremacist, then white supremacy doesn't exist. And they are just going super heavy with it this time. They're going super heavy. So just understand who the real target is. The real target is not Kanye. The same folks talking about Kanye now, they gonna bring it around to saying, by the way, in black folks, there ain't no white supremacy like that. Including your so-called white liberals. They're all gonna be on board with that. All of them. We're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. Mr. Rose, thank you very much here. Mr. Baker as well, and everyone who has supported the program. I see you. I love you. Thank you very much for it. We appreciate that. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the haven of intelligent black thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. And if you have not gone to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, to go ahead and check that out. See our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight, and this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority, and until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.